If you've ever bought something the second you felt that rush, not because you needed it, but because everyone around you seemed to be grabbing it. The father of value investing said that reflex is exactly what quietly drains people's money. Not bad luck. Here's the idea underneath everything he wrote. He wasn't describing bad stock picks. He was describing a sequence. The feeling shows up first. The decision follows a few seconds later. And the reasoning gets invented afterward to explain a choice your emotions had already made. His name was Benjamin Graham. People remember him as the man who taught Warren Buffett and wrote the most respected investing book of the 20th century. But what he was actually studying, underneath all the numbers, was older than any stock market. Why capable people keep making the same money mistakes the moment emotion gets involved.
What he left behind boils down to about 4 patterns, and the 4th one flips almost everything modern advice tells you about protecting yourself from your own bad decisions. The first pattern is the one we just heard, spelled out fully. There's a difference between a decision and a reflex, and most people can't tell which one they just had. Before any purchase or bet, you should be able to explain your reason in plain language, with no reference to how you feel right now. If the only honest answer is it felt right in the moment, that wasn't reasoning. That was a reflex wearing reasoning's clothes. Here's why that trick works on almost everyone. The feeling, excitement, urgency, the fear of being left out, arrives first, and the brain builds a story around it afterward, and that story feels exactly like logic, even though it came second.
A countdown timer on a sale page, a friend saying, "I already got mine." None of that is new information about whether the thing is worth it. It's a trigger for the feeling, time to arrive right before your guard is up. The second pattern is about protecting yourself from your own certainty, and this is where Graham stops sounding like a professor and starts sounding like someone who's watched confident people lose everything. He said never commit everything to a choice based only on how sure you feel right now, because feeling certain and being correct are 2 completely different things that happen to feel identical from the inside. Leave a gap between how much you're risking and how sure you actually are. If your confidence turns out to be wrong, the gap is what catches you. If you turn out to be right, you haven't lost anything by being careful.
It's the same reason someone doesn't quit a stable job the morning after one electrifying pitch meeting with no savings set aside. The excitement is real, but excitement isn't a plan, and leaving room for the version where you were wrong isn't pessimism, it's just math. The third pattern shifts the question again, from your own feelings to everyone else's. Graham used to imagine the market as an unstable business partner who shows up daily, sometimes euphoric, sometimes terrified, always trying to sell you his mood along with his price. The deeper point wasn't about trading, it's that other people's panic and excitement are contagious, and contagious isn't the same as correct. Someone near you gets excited about a deal, and you feel the pull to match their urgency, and suddenly you're making a decision based on borrowed emotion instead of your own reasoning. That's the entire mechanism, whether it's a crowd rushing a limited drop, a group chat hyping a coin, or a store shelf getting picked clean the moment a shortage rumor starts. The other people's feelings are information about the other people. They're not a verdict on what the thing is actually worth to you. And now the pattern that breaks the rest. The first 3 sound exactly like discipline you'd expect from someone careful. Know your real reason, protect against your own overconfidence, ignore the crowd's mood.
The 4th one is the reason Graham spent nearly as much of his book on temperament as on math, and it's the one most modern advice skips entirely, because none of it is about finding a better tool or a smarter strategy at all. The single biggest threat to anyone's money, Graham argued, usually isn't one bad decision made by chance. It's a pattern. The same person buying euphorically the moment something's rising, then panic selling or panic cutting losses the moment it drops a few months later. 2 opposite decisions, driven by the exact same cause. Not a smarter tool would have saved that person. A calmer 30 seconds before either decision would have. So that's the 4 patterns, and each one holds up completely on its own. Know your real reason, protect against your own certainty, don't borrow the crowd's mood, and treat your own emotional swing as the actual risk.
But before you build your whole approach to money around them,
It's worth admitting these patterns came out of a specific kind of situation, too. The first pattern assumes you have a moment to pause before the feeling turns into an action. And plenty of the purchases and bets that hurt people happen in exactly the gap where that pause doesn't exist. A checkout page with one tap between the urge and the charge, a bet placed from a phone in your pocket at 1 a.m. That doesn't make the pattern wrong. It just means for a lot of people, explain your reason first only works if you've built a hard stop into the process itself. A waiting period, a second person who has to say yes, something outside your own willpower. Because willpower alone, in that exact gap, is usually already losing. The fourth pattern has a blind spot of its own too.
Telling yourself, I'm just staying calm and not reacting emotionally, while genuinely new, bad information keeps arriving, can become its own kind of self-deception, mistaking numbness for discipline. That's not proof the warning is wrong. It just means the discipline needs a second discipline. Knowing the difference between a feeling that's noise and a feeling that's actually telling you something true. None of that erases what's actually useful here, though. These 4 patterns have stayed relevant for over 80 years, not because they're a guaranteed formula, but because applied to what you're actually dealing with and where you actually are, they still work. So here's the one thing to do with this tonight, not eventually. The next time you feel that specific rush right before a purchase or a bet, the urgency, the fear of missing it, don't act on it yet.
Write down in one sentence your reason with the feeling removed from the sentence entirely. If you can't write that sentence without mentioning how excited or scared you are, you haven't made a decision yet. You've just described a feeling and called it one. That rush will show up again next week for something else entirely. Fine. Just don't let the rush be the one holding the card. Let it wait for the sentence.